Good morning, my loves. Welcome back. So today I want to talk with you about an aspect that seems to be minor, but can actually turn out to be major for your future, for your relationships, for your own understanding of your innate worthiness. And this aspect is the conjunction between the South Node and Venus, which is also the opposition between the North Node and Venus. And this is an aspect that will be exact on November 29th. And you might feel it coming days in advance. Probably already a week in advance, even though Venus moves very fast, right? She's an inner planet. She doesn't move as fast as Mercury and the moon, but she is a fast planet, and the nodes move, as we know, they move backwards. So what is happening here is that Venus is basically moving towards the South Node, and the South Node is also moving towards Venus, right? They're not moving like this, they're moving like that. I wanted to record this early and I wanted to publish this early because there are big lessons in this. The nodes are the nodes of the moon, right? When we say the nodes, we're talking about the nodes of the moon. Every planet has nodes, but we generally don't really talk about these nodes. But we're talking about the nodes of the moon, and we are understanding that they are obviously an expression of the moon. So the moon is all about our emotional capacities, our emotional responses, our emotional digestive system, and the way we relate emotionally to others. And this comes out particularly in relationships, right? Because the moon, as you know me say, you've heard me say this a million times before, I bet, the moon is the most important factor to consider when we look at a relationship chart. The moon is for long-term relationships, right? We're talking about long-term romantic relationships, but also long-term relationships that you have with your friends. If the moon is matching, the relationship will feel less harmonious. The moon brings in the harmony because the moon brings in the unconscious principle. The sun is the conscious principle in the relationship, the moon is the unconscious principle, and together they're whole, right? Together they're whole. Doesn't mean they're not whole in itself because of what they represent, they're whole within that, right? But the unconscious and the conscious coming together, working together, playing together, dancing together, that is true harmony. But let's just stay with what the nodes of the moon represent when it comes to relationships. So we just talked about the moon being the unconscious principle. And when we bring the unconscious into the relationship, well, what is happening? Well, we are relating all our inner junk onto the other. And all of our wounds are coming up. And all the unresolved stuff that, and all the inner child, inner deep conditioning, past conditioning is showing itself in the other, because the other is the mirror, right? The other becomes the mirror. And for me, even though it is not easy to handle and digest, for me, this is the most beautiful thing in a relationship. The other helping me to see myself and my big or little traumas, my unresolved issues, my wounds, my conditioning that doesn't serve me. The other is able to show me that in a way that I wasn't able to see on my own. So through the other, we can become fuller. We can become more ourselves. When the nodes of the moon are involved in any action going on in the cosmos, we are having a big opportunity to make unconscious moon pattern conscious. Because the nodes of the moon don't just relate to the moon, they also relate to the sun. The nodes of the moon are the 2 points where the moon's orbit crosses the ecliptic. What's the ecliptic? The ecliptic is the sun's apparent path on the celestial sphere. So the nodes of the moon are the connecting points between conscious and unconscious. So again, when we have the nodes of the moon involved in aspects, specifically inner planet aspects, because they're very personal, they're really reflecting our life in the here and now. So when this is happening, and it is happening with Venus right now, which is worth and value, and the way we relate in relationships, now we are getting to see clearer what is not working within us correctly. And by correctly, what I mean is you're not aligned. There is a misalignment between your soul's guidance, your soul essence, and the identity that you live out on this planet. So the question to ask here is, well, first of all, what do I truly want in my life? What do I truly want in my relationships? And what is keeping me from having the aligned relationship? And don't get me wrong, in every relationship, even in the most ideal relationships, there will be things that going forward continuously, make us work on ourselves, right? There is never, the work never stops. The inner work never stops. But we reach certain goalposts, we reach certain levels where we, reach a new plateau, we get to know ourselves better, we are more ourselves, and we can live fuller. And if we are lucky, and what I mean by lucky, if the more aligned we are, the bigger the chance that we can do this growth work within one relationship, and we don't have to constantly break up with a person. One of the biggest things here is understanding what your core values are, right? This is like what this aspect brings us back to, because when Venus is conjunct with the South Node is what we brought in with us from the past. So we get to really fully see what we brought in with us from the past that is in the now, that is not working for us, because it is too far away from the North Node, right? We are opposing the North Node. Venus is opposing the North Node. And so we are really far away from our full potential. The North Node is where we are headed, where we are living our full potential in this lifetime. So you can look at it from the perspective, what is my North Node? What is my North Node saying right now? And then you look at it from the perspective of the collective North Node, where the North Node is right now in Aries, right? So we have this aspect, Venus conjunct the South Node in Libra, opposing the North Node in Aries. It's telling us we are very far away from where we want to go. We are furthest away from where we want to go on the level of worth and value, the value we want to see for ourselves in the world. So this is a beautiful reminder. And it also reminds me on all the recent videos I did for you. We were talking about knowing your own value and standing up for that, and holding it up, right? Holding your value, being contained in it. So you don't allow anything into your life that doesn't reflect that. Because if you allow things into your life that reflect something that makes you feel unworthy or not fully seen, or your value not being seen by someone, then this tells you you are not standing in your worth. But let me give you an example. let's stay with the example of relationships, because I believe this will show up mostly in relationships for all of us. And if you're not in a romantic relationship, then it may show up in, your dating relationship, your relationship with your friend, your relationship with your mother, your relationship with your father. When we have Venus and the South Node coming together opposing the North Node, and you really have to look at it from that perspective. You can't just look at it from the perspective Venus conjunct the South Node. It has to be also looked at what is then opposing, because we are opposing the bigger us, the more contained us, the full of potential of us, right? We're opposing that. So we are seeing very clearly in front of us what we want, but we also see that it is so far away. And then right next to us, what we have is what we've created so far. And through that, through the opposition and the conjunction, because we have that, we have an opposition here and we have a conjunction, we see much more clearly what is not working in the now anymore, because I see what I want, right? I see this is what I want. I want to go there. I see it clearly. It's right there. Why am I not there? What is holding me back? Then I look here and I'm like, oh, this is holding me back. And I'm not saying your partner is holding you back, right? I don't want you to now look at your partner and say, oh, it's your fault. No. It's right here. Because this partner right next to you, or your mother, or your friend, or whoever that is, it's just reflecting back to you what inside of you is holding you back from getting over there. And now this can mean a lot of different things, right? For some people, that means they have to release that person. They maybe need some space from that person so they can become much more clear within that without putting it on the other, right? You don't need the space from the other because the other is causing something. You need that space from the other because what the other brings up within you needs to be realigned and restructured, rearranged, whatever it is for you. Maybe it also needs to be released. And the space will give you, the space between you and the other will give you space to work on that within you, right? Because the inner work, you always will do your inner work on your own. No one else will do your inner work for you. They act as a mirror and they show you and they reflect back to you what work you'll have to do within you, but they will not be able to really help you with the work that you have to do. You'll have to do that work within you. And that aspect will make a lot of things very, very obvious to you. You can still deny them. You can still blame the other. You can still just break up with them and say, oh, it was their fault. And then you keep going on and then you will attract the same type of person back into your life. Is there a way for you to shift it and stay in that relationship and then up-level that relationship together? Is that possible for you? Or is this person really showing you something that they clearly also hold within them, right? Because otherwise they wouldn't be able to show it to you. You both hold that, let's just stay with the topic, unworthiness, the feeling of unworthiness, not the actual unworthiness, but the feeling of unworthiness within you, and then you reflect it back to each other. And so now can you both see it, and can you both learn from it, and can you both grow and up level from it? Or is it not just a break, is it a breakup, right? That is the question here. So there are a lot of options within this, right? There are a lot of options. The most important thing here is that you learn, there's no point in breaking up with someone or having space from someone if you don't learn, if you don't rearrange the things that you have to rearrange within you. If you just take a break and then you come back together and you haven't rearranged anything within you, you haven't understood and embody now a new version of yourself, nothing will change. And you might, if you rearrange things within you and the other doesn't, then you will also not get back together, or you will not be able to move on. There has to be a certain level of growth within both people. So because you can't have a relationship like this. You gotta see each other. You gotta be reciprocals of each other. As you can see, this is a really, it is not a little girl aspect, right? This is a big girl aspect or a big man aspect. It's a big aspect that even though it is relatively short-lived, it will show us something. You know, sometimes when you go window shopping and you see things and then you see a reflection in the window and you're like, oh, I didn't see this before. Oh, it's like with this aspect, it comes really quickly. It's shown to you really quickly and you have to get it, right? Like, be ready for this aspect. Be ready to see that thing that you need to change and shift within you to grow, to up level, to get to the next level. It is really a beautiful aspect. Really utilize that energy for you and understand what is next on your inner healing journey. What needs to be rearranged and restructured within you next, so you can be your next version self, and then also be your next version self in the relationship, right? What is it now that you see in the mirror of your partner that he's holding up or she's holding up, or that your mother is holding up? What is it that you have to shift and change within you to get there, right? To get to that North Node, get closer to your North Node. And again, remind yourself what your own North Node, South Node arrangement is, right? For most of you, you will probably not have an Aries North Node and a Libra South Node, but you will maybe have an Aquarius South Node and a Libra and a Leo North Node. This aspect is also going to trigger your North Node, South Node aspect. The North Node, South Node within you that wants to grow, that wants to reach the next level. Be aware of that, understand that. And I will also understand that this is a beautiful chance to get closer to your North Node, get closer to you where you want to go, get closer to your expansive self, right? Grow that container so you can hold more and live more. Live a fuller life. Live a more expansive life. Live a more aligned life. Live a more peaceful life. It's a big aspect. This video could go on forever and ever. I have a lot to say about this, but we going to cut it off here. And if you have any questions, leave me a comment in the comment section below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and follow this channel. Also, if you want a personal reading, send me a message or click on the link in the description box. And I hope you will have a beautiful day today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.